Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everyone to the May 5th briefing of the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners, and we're actually briefing for Thursday's meeting on May the 8th. So I'll turn the briefing agenda over to our County Manager, Chantel Robinson. We have no discussion items today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon, Commissioners, staff, and guests. The agenda items before you will be briefed for the May 8th meeting. Agenda item number 1 is a resolution recognizing May as Eligibility Specialist Appreciation Month, and we will have staff from DSS here to receive that on Thursday. Agenda item number 2 is a resolution recognizing May as Mental Health Awareness Month in Forsyth County. We will also have staff there. Please wear green if you can remember to do so. Agenda item number 3 is a resolution recognizing May 4th through 10th as Professional Clerks Week, and we will recognize our fabulous clerk and deputy clerk. Agenda item number 4 is an approval of minutes for the meeting of April 24th. Madam Clerk, have those been emailed out?
Yes, ma'am. They went out on Friday.
Great, thank you. Agenda item number 5 is an amendment to the 2016 Schools Capital Projects Ordinance. Adam Fernbach from our Finance Department will brief this item.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This item is a request from the Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools for $2,568,000 in 2016 referendum bond proceeds for work at East Forsyth High School. It consists of $2.1 million for emergency repairs for utility tunnels on site, and another $468,000 for contingency and for a possible failing boiler in that area. That's the item, and Daryl is here as well from the schools if there are any questions about this one.
Any questions for Adam or Daryl?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 6 is a resolution of the Board of Commissioners designating the purpose of net premiums related to the General Obligation Bond Series 2025. Our Deputy CFO, Lee Plunkett, will brief this item.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This item before you is to follow up on our discussion from the April 7th budget workshop about the potential to receive bond premium in our upcoming general obligation 2/3 sale, and to what purpose the premium should be applied. In the resolution before you, county staff is recommending a split among 3 purposes: 65% to go towards county capital maintenance, 30% to go to schools, and 5% to Forsyth Tech. Once approved, our CFO will apply the premium, if it is received, to those purposes. And just a quick update, last week we ran some new numbers just based off the current market conditions. And so I think when we spoke in April, I think we had maybe $2 million in net premium available, and that has gone down as rates have gone up. So when rates go up, the premium available to us potentially goes down. So right now, the latest estimate is $1.3 million in total. So we have some volatility there that we won't know finally until May 20th when we price the bonds.
So that's where those percentages will be applied to.
That's right. That's right.
That's good.
So I'm happy to answer any questions on that.
Any questions for Lee?
The rationale for the split recommended 65% to county public facilities, 30% schools, 5% community college. If you could elaborate.
My understanding is the schools are approximately 30% of the county budget, overall budget, so 30% goes to the schools. I think the Forsyth Tech had requested an increase in capital funding in the annual budget process, and I believe the county's recommended budget won't accommodate that this go around, but this has kind of helped offset some of the amount that they requested, maybe up to half or so. And then going forward, obviously, as you know, the CIP for the county is being developed and formalized, we're going to include the schools and Forsyth Tech in that as well. So it'll be a clear picture of going forward what the capital needs are.
I guess I wondered, that's not a huge amount. I mean, 1.3, did you say, or revised 1.2?
That's the estimate as of right at last week. So we don't know until we price it, but that's the estimate.
Only 5% of that.
Yeah, but I mean, we do have a number of projects, both in the school category and in our facilities, that could be potentially assisted with even that modest amount. And For example, I mean, in the search for sufficient funds to enable the schools to move ahead with the bids on Ashley Elementary, if we were to allocate instead of most of it to our county facilities, most of that to the Ashley project, that would be a different value for the use. I'm assuming that at some point there was a value calculation, not just schools are 30% of our budget.
I think, to be honest, I can't tell you for sure on what was driving that
Yes.
as far as the value of it, but maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
county
what
manager
what I will say is, when we originally found out about the extra premium, I think the estimate was about 2 million, then it dropped to 1.7, and then it sounds like it's dropping more. My manager's recommendation was actually for all county facilities because we have capital needs. But in hearing from some board members, I think we were trying to be fair to the schools, understanding that they also have, what they're saying is a shortage for Ashley, but I also want to be clear, they don't have a shortage for Ashley. We have a school board letter saying they wanted to utilize 25 and 27 funds. And so there are funds available through 27, but if they wanted to try to finish Ashley sooner, then yes, they do need more funds. We also recently discovered additional lottery proceeds for the school system to use, and I will ask Lee to talk a little bit about that because that is another revenue source for the schools to help them with the Ashley project that I have also informed the school superintendent about during my last meeting with her.
So in discussions with the schools, we're looking at what's called the Public School Building Repair and Renovation Fund. So in fiscal '22, the state set aside a fixed amount to this fund, and so every county and LEA would get an equal amount or equal share. And so that has been funded every year for the last 4 years. I think the first year was $250,000, and the second year was maybe $400,000. So the total fund now is up to $1.7 million. The difference between this fund and the lottery fund, which we talk about all the time when it referred to paying for debt service related to schools, is this one cannot be used for debt service. It can only be used for the enlargement or expansion of classroom facilities. So I think that's a potential funding option for any deficit that the schools perceives as for Ashley project.
Thank you.
And I read in the paper that the Ashley project is being bid, I guess as we speak, and with some hope that the actual bid price may be less than the cost estimates. Darryl, Sarah, I don't know if you want to comment on that or not, but you could say, yeah, you hope it is.
Good afternoon. Yeah, the RFQ for the CM at risk has actually went out Friday. So our hope is right now is to have a CM on board by the end of May and then be able to come back to both boards with a solid number. Right now, we're just have an estimated number for that project. So hope to have something pretty solid here by the 1st of June, second week of June.
So you're just bidding a CM at risk is all you're bidding.
Yes,
so
correct.
You may or may not have a good number by June, I would think.
We're going to kind of push to at least get as close to a number so we can kind of figure out what that gap is as we move forward as well. And we need to talk with our board a little bit about the square footage of the building and see if there's anything we want to do different there as well. We have some additional services in that building that we normally do not have in a lot of others, like food pantries, closed closets, those kind of things, kind of premium space.
That's good. Yeah, questions for Darryl while he's here? Okay, thank you.
And then I'd also ask Lee, because we are right now, the bond rating agencies have rated us for 2025, so I thought he could just give you a brief update because that came in on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, so thank you, County Manager. I'm happy to report that both S&P and Moody's affirmed the county's AAA rating. So congratulations to you all on a great rating. And this is obviously great news, helps us drive the cost of our debt down and get at the lowest interest rate possible possible. So we are still waiting on the final report to be published from Moody's, I believe, possibly today. So then the county manager will send those both reports along to you for your review and to take a look at. We are very grateful for the top marks. Some of the positive highlights, just to give you a little headline view of it, of what we understand it right now, is as expected, proactive and conservative fiscal policies and management, which is a good sign. They recognize us as a regional economic center with a diverse and growing tax base, and then also fairly moderate to low long-term liabilities in comparison to our other AAA peers. So really getting to our debt burden and then some pension liabilities. The downside risk that were also pointed out were as expected. So our income and wealth metrics are below the national and state medians, and then also below our AAA peers. And then as we've discussed in our April workshops and over the last few months, the rating analysts did bring up, the negative trend in our financial performance and the utilization of fund balance and the decreasing fund balance, as well as using fund balance to balance the budget. So they did bring it up, but as expected, we knew that going in. And so I have to admit, I want to congratulate you as a board, but also a big thank you to the county manager. She was in on both of those rating calls, which I think left an impression on the rating analysts. So that was helpful. And our CFO and our financial advisor, First Tryon, they created a great presentation that they gave to both analysts that answered a lot of their questions. And so I thought it went really well. Congratulations.
Good. Oh, well, congratulations to you, and thank you.
Thank you, Lee. Agenda item number 7 is Mr. Plunkett's as well. It's an amendment to the fiscal year 25 budget ordinance to appropriate additional revenue in the Employee Health Benefits Internal Service Fund.
Yeah, so during the briefing on April 21st, our HR Director, Shannon Hutchins, and CFO, Terry Goodman, walked through the updated health insurance plan, the changes that I think you guys voted on as well during that week. But also, Terry had talked about the funding deficit in the health services, or health benefits internal service fund in the current fiscal year 25. And the primary cause, as noted, was the rising cost of health claims that outpaced our budget estimates. So during that discussion, Terry talked through shoring up the health benefits internal service fund by using $4.5 million of budgeted funds in the general fund. And the agenda item before you today is the amendment to actually appropriate those funds within the internal service fund. And so while that's the primary purpose of this amendment, Terry also took the opportunity to kind of rearrange the way the budget is actually listed. So what she did was to provide more clarity. She separated out a few items to make it clearer as we analyze the operating results every year so that we can separate some of the revenues out separately, and then also the expenditures. So a few of those are the pharmacy rebate revenue, the stop-loss premium expense, and the stop-loss reimbursement. So it just kind of does some accounting work to make it clear for everyone as they're looking at this internal service fund. Also happy to answer any questions on that as well.
Questions for Lee? Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item number 8 is a resolution to direct fiscal year 26 expenditures of opioid settlement funds and an associated amendment to the North Carolina Opioid Settlement Special Revenue Fund to appropriate funds for fiscal year 26. Our Interim Behavioral Health Services Director, Rhonda Tatum, will brief this item.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. It's been a long time since I've been in front of you, so you have to bear with me a little bit. Items 8 and 9 are the resolutions directing and appropriating the FY26 funding for behavioral health services, maintenance of effort, and I'm also going to do number 9 as well for opioid settlement. If you have specific questions about the applications or the recommendations, I did bring my subject matter experts with me, Amber Humble, who is our Behavioral Health Services Director, our Supervisor, and Annie Vasquez, who is our Substance Use Services Coordinator. I get her title all mixed up every time. So I'm going to talk about these actually in reverse order, starting with our behavioral health maintenance of effort first. So as you may or may not know, we have to appropriate at least $4,026,677 annually to fund internal and external programs or projects. And that is something that happened back in 2016 or 17 when Cardinal merged with Centerpoint, and that's the number we landed on. For behavioral health services, Amber Humble led the request for proposal effort. Applications were received through the Neighborly software, and a committee consisting of subject matter experts, at least one Health and Human Services board member, staff, and community partners came together to review and score those applications. The application portal opened on February the 3rd and closed at 5 p.m. on February the 21st. Members of the committee met from March the 4th through March the 14th to review and discuss each application and develop recommendations. The recommendations went to the full Health and Human Services Board on April the 2nd, at which time they unanimously approved the recommendations of the committee to forward to this body. This slide just shows the continuation efforts for maintenance of effort, where we are fully appropriating the $4,026,677, which is the minimum maintenance of effort requirement. This slide pretty much just shows what the continuation, that $1.9 million, it consists of. And it really outlines that we do have funds in the recommendation for partners to provide community mental health first aid, as well as funding for the 2 advisory committees to do their small micro grants each year. So the current year, we had 12 agencies approved for total funding of a little over $2 million. For FY26, we're recommending 19 applications and increasing the amount dispersed by $55,040. So we are increasing the number of applications that we're recommending by 7. The next slides just simply show a listing of all of, from top to bottom, for the agencies that are getting funding. I won't read all of these to you, but the numbers and information is there, and if you have any specific questions on the funding, we can get Annie or Amber to come up and talk about those.
Probably the general question I have about both of them is I'd actually like to see what our amount allocated in FY25 was this year for these particular agencies. I'm kind of interested in more of the change in what we're proposing for this year versus what they received last year.
And we will have that to you by Thursday. Actually, we'll hopefully to send it out this afternoon. We also included in there not only what they received in FY25, but any other county funding that they may be receiving as well.
Yeah,
So that will be coming out to you.
be helpful. And of course, in some of these, it's the annual part is more of a continuation of the things that are already in place that are, the evaluation is not quite on a outcome, and it's more like the process. But for the ones that do have that, it would be great to know some outcome measures. I mean, that's, for me, much more important in number 9, because those are, they're all designed, the activities, to improve outcomes.
Right.
These sometimes are designed to keep the various, programs, moving forward. And, there are several of those I could probably get into the weeds, but I probably won't. But I think getting more of that information would be helpful.
Okay, we will provide that to you. And again, this slide just simply reflects that we are recommending the full $4,026,677 as our minimum amount to fund.
If you could also send this PowerPoint too.
Yes.
Because the PowerPoint's got what's not in here in our materials were those items that had requests that got 0 funding.
Okay.
Which the last few
Yes.
slides, that's really the only slides I'm interested in, is
Okay.
that group.
Okay, will do. All right, so next I will move on to the opioid settlement, which is item number.
Mr. Chairman, can I just address a technicality here?
Yep.
In maintenance of effort, the statute which establishes maintenance of effort is really speaking to our direct support of the area authority of partners. So while we may fund this amount, it's not technically a maintenance of effort, because these are not funded to partners, these are funded to nonprofits.
I understand that part, but I do have the question, so, but what if we decided we wanted to spend less than the 4 million, whatever it is, number, then
You have that ability.
that's okay? It's not.
The statute is 122C 115D.
So the statute changed after the CenterPoint part that we'd made a contribution to CenterPoint. I guess we were giving them our money that they spent. And so I thought that's where the MOE locked in, and that's why that number has remained the same. So
Statute has not changed, but we've changed our level of support.
It looks like the level of support is identically the same as what the MOE number was, correct?
Yes and no. The level of support to the area authority is what I'm talking about.
Well, right, and I guess in the one between CenterPoint and Partners that I guess conveniently are forgetting their names.
Cardinal.
Cardinal in the middle. Cardinal said they were willing to let us keep the maintenance of effort and spend it on the organizations that we would select. I didn't think that relinquished us, if you will, from the MOE requirements. It just gave us flexibility to do things here locally. Instead of paying them to do stuff for us, we could just pay directly. So help me understand the statutory difference in that, in the amount.
That was not statutory. Cardinal didn't necessarily follow the statutes. So we have not been paying that amount to area authorities for quite some time. So what I'm saying is, if you read the statute, that is not what maintenance of effort. Maintenance of effort would look at what we paid directly to partners last year.
So I would say similarly to Cardinal, Partners is allowing us to utilize to keep all of the funds to utilize for the community in the way in which the board decides. They have not asked us to send them this money. They're allowing us to manage the funds ourselves.
Could they make a decision to say, we want you to send us that money?
No, I don't believe they could. And please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying there's any value judgment. I think it's wonderful to support these programs. It's just not technically a maintenance of effort.
Then does it strike anyone oddly, in an odd way, that the amount of money is an odd, go back to your slide, it's 4,026,677, which implies it tied back to, I assume, the original maintenance of effort number.
Yes, sir.
And has remained the same. But if we wanted, for a rounding purposes, to say it was 4 million, or well, obviously we can make it 4,500,000 if we wanted to put additional money, obviously. But the belief I had then is if we put more money, you're required to spend it forever. And what I'm hearing you say is that this is only related to funding the LME MCO, that, to give them money, and that's the only requirement. So there are no requirements. So if we wanted to round it to 4 million, we could do that, for example.
That's correct.
Interesting. Okay, that's enlightening.
Okay.
Please, yeah.
Is that the way DHS is interpreting the requirement?
The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services?
Yes.
I do not know.
Fine. It's curious that we have that specific figure, which is not the amount that has been going to the area agency, referenced as part of a continuation of effort requirement. Our council tells us today that that's not his interpretation of the statute, where did it come from?
I will say, I think we are all caught a little off guard, and we need to have some sideline conversations to make sure we are all on the same page. Because this amount has been the amount that we have utilized as our maintenance of effort amount, and it's been our understanding that we need to spend in our community at minimum this amount. And the the last two LME MCOs have not required us to give it directly to them as Centerpoint used to. And so we've been spending the funds in this way. So what I will say is, please allow us an opportunity to speak offline to make sure we are all on the same page.
Thank you.
And basically, well, anyhow, yeah, we can do that.
Okay. All right. So next, I will move on to the opioid settlement, which is a little bit clearer as mud. Actually, local governments and states across the nation, as you know, entered into opioid settlement agreements with manufacturers, distributors, and pharmacies based on lawsuits that were settled. Forsyth County anticipates receiving a little over $26 million over the next 14 years. It is anticipated that we will receive $3 million in FY26. The anticipated funds do not account for any funds that may be received from additional lawsuits. Just wanted to remind you that the schedule of distribution is adjusted to reflect more dollars being uploaded in the earlier years. And of course, we also, any unused funds in the current year will continue to stay in this special revenue fund, and interest is accumulated on the funds. So a memorandum of agreement was entered into between the state of North Carolina and local governments directing how funds are to be distributed and used. The MOA with the state outlines very specific elements and allowable activities. The funds cannot go toward general government and cannot be used for law enforcement efforts. Now, under the maintenance of memorandum of agreement, there's an option A and an option B. Forsyth County elected to use the funds according to option B, which maximizes the potential strategies that can be used. And it also requires a collaborative strategic planning effort every 3 years. And so in FY26, a new community planning effort, strategic planning effort will take place. So just along the lines of the maintenance of effort, Annie Vasquez, our substance use services coordinator, led the request for proposal effort. Again, the applications were received through the Neighborly software. The application period was from February 3rd through February 21st. The review committee established recommendations. We reviewed those from March the 6th through March the 17th. The recommendations went to the HHS board and were unanimously approved for forwarding to this body on April the 2nd. Now, for opioid settlement, in FY25, there were 26 applications approved with $3.3 million of funding allocated. In FY26, we're recommending 30 applications for $4.5 million. So we're adding 4 applications and increasing funding by $1.184 million. There were 40 applications that were received, and again, we are recommending 30 of those.
And if all of this money were spent, every penny of it were spent, there would be no carryover.
Exactly.
No, we've exhausted any carryover we had.
Yes. And so right now, at this point in time, Annie, can you refresh me on the amount? I can't quite remember the fund balance amount that we had available to spend.
Lee may be able to correct me, but I, maybe not. I believe we have somewhere around $14 million. So we still have a decent pot of money from the last 3 years that we haven't spent, as well as just because we appropriate this much money doesn't necessarily mean that that agency will spend all of that money.
Oh, sure.
because it's a reimbursement base. So we know for a fact that certain organizations have not spent as much money as we appropriated last year for them. So we will be receiving those funds back. And we also know that all the funds accumulate interest, so we'll also have those interests as well.
So of the 26 million projected for the life of the settlement dollars, we've already received 14 plus million.
It would be more than that.
And actually, the original amount was 37, a little over 37 million. That was the original amount of the settlements.
The remaining years is 26 million. We'll get you an exact number as to how much we have in reserve right now. I was thinking Annie was a little bit lower than that, but Annie usually knows these things better than I do. But we'll get you an exact number. Our goal from the onset has been to spend as quickly as we could reasonably spend and get good outcomes. So we've not pushed it out any more than we had good projects to support.
Right, no, I understand it completely. I didn't quite realize it was that much forward funding. And I guess I also had in my head, it was about over 2 million something per year for, I think I was right, for the roughly 18 years. That'd be the 37.
You're remembering correctly.
Right.
They changed how much they were front-loaded midways through, so it looks like we're getting less dollars over the life cycle of the settlement, when really we're not. It's just it doesn't account for the interest earned at the state level. The interest is earning locally now.
And I will say also, Gordon may know, I think we have at least one more settlement that we should be receiving that will add on to this.
Another cycle.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, I got it.
It sounds like to me that we do have an oversight system the way that we did with the special appropriations and now community grants, correct?
Yes.
Okay. fair.
Yes, we at least have, from the Health and Human Services Board, they have a subcommittee.
Okay.
So we make sure that there are folks on the Health and Human Services Board, on the committee reviewing the applications.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you.
On the page that you're on, and I don't know if you want to do it, but when I looked at this list, I did have a question particularly about what the gap analysis was that was the Forsyth County $50,000 item.
Yeah, so we are going to, this year, we'll be redoing our priorities, as we just talked about, and we want to know what's in our community already versus what are the things we are missing. So therefore, we're going to hire a vendor, hopefully, that will do both substance use and mental health, and look and see what is already in our community and what should our top priorities be moving forward for the next 3 years.
What kind of folks do that work? by the
Usually,
way?
there's some sort of consultants.
Well, I know it's consultant.
Yeah.
But I'm trying, because it
Like,
appears
public
you
health-
almost have to be in the community to do
Yes,
it.
it is always better if you reach someone who's in the community, because as we all know, there's stuff I still don't know in our community. So it's usually a process.
Okay?
Yeah, we'll put out a RFP for that, and we'll have that posted. In fact, it's already written. We're just waiting to make sure we have funds in order to put it out.
I envision this following something similar to what we used to do in the LME MCO world. It's no longer required in that space, unfortunately, which is why we are looking to do this, where we're not only mapping, it would be a resource mapping process. We're not only mapping what services are available in our community, but how close they are to individuals, how far they have to travel, are they on transportation lines and such. So it's a really deep dive into what's available in the community and where the barriers are, so that when we're looking.
And we have not done that before?
We have not, personally, we have relied on the LME MCO needs assessment, and they are no longer required to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so finally, just to let you know, we received 40 applications for over $9 million and recommended 30 for next year at $4.5 million. And I believe that is it for me today. We want to thank you definitely for your continued support of behavioral health services. You've got a great staff. They're doing an awesome job, and hope to continue the efforts.
And you can include that PowerPoint also with the other ones.
Yes.
And in this case, I'm a lot more interested in the metrics that we're checking off that we're going to hopefully achieve in those kind of the key items. There's probably not a short, simple way to do that, but at some point, we ought to be, we need to be showing improvements. I mean,
definitely.
and that's really kind of critical at this point.
Okay. We will do.
I'm thinking-
If the contract's to do 20, 180 counsel, some kind of counseling sessions or some kind of something, then then what did that result in terms of an outcome that is expected? Not the outcome we had 180 sessions.
Right.
I mean, you understand what I'm saying?
Chairman Martin, I think you'd be very pleased with the settlement oversight. There's an impact report that has to be submitted on an annual basis, and we can submit that to you as well. Now, it's a year backwards, right? So you have to complete the year before you have the data, but Annie pulls a lot of information together. It gets just to that. What are the true impacts, not just quantitative services that were provided?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item number 10 is a resolution authorizing execution of an agreement with Mythix LLC for Oracle Cloud Subscription Services. Our CIO, Gary Kuntz, will brief this item.
Good afternoon. Item before you is to renew for a one-year renewal of with a company called Mythix, which provides our Oracle licensing for our ERP and HR system we collectively call FC Connect. So we did put out through City County Purchasing, a request for proposal on February 10th. We actually received, it closed on March 14th, so it was available for roughly a month. We've received one proposal back. So we had it out as a potential multi-year agreement. So we're going to renew 1 year and then make a concerted, focused effort in the upcoming year to try to engage more bidders in this. But the item before you would renew our Oracle licenses for $692,062.20 for 1 year.
Is that what we expected when we adopted our Oracle, this financial
It's
stuff, that
what
it was going to be $680,000 a year in maintenance fees and updates?
This is a licensing cost for the Oracle piece, and that was in the initial documents, and we spent a lot more than that ramping up. So really, our total annual expense is going down as we're going kind of into
We also had a lot of helpers.
We did.
Helpers and
We spent a lot with.
As I recall, was not the smoothest process.
Not the smoothest
out
process.
there, and that was a concern. And this is just the licensing of the software.
Just the
And a
licensing.
help desk to call when you got a problem. And
It's just the licensing. So Mythix is a reseller, so our support is directly with Oracle, as they are the manufacturer of the product, but they don't deal directly, so you have to go through a reseller. But it's just license only.
So what is Mythix getting out of this? Why aren't we dealing directly with Oracle? Just out
Oracle
of
doesn't,
curiosity.
they won't resell directly, so they have to go through a reseller. So Oracle, they don't deal with end users. You have to go through a reseller to do it. We was hoping to get more bids. We advertised it for a month and got one bid. So our plan is to try to cast a wider net for this next year for a multi-year agreement to see if we can obtain some discounts.
Okay.
It's kind of where we are today, so.
The question's for Gary.
What is the recourse against Oracle or Mythix in the event of a data breach?
Great question. I don't know. From Mythix is the reseller, so really a data breach standpoint would be with Oracle, so it'd be our terms and conditions with Oracle. I don't have those in front of me.
Mythic basically excludes any real financial remedy in the event of a data breach from what I can see, and I expect Oracle purports to do the same thing.
I'm sure they probably do. I'm sure we have language in there that speaks to that. I don't have that in front of me. So, but Mythix, in essence, just putting it quite frankly, they're just moving paper for us.
Thank you.
Other questions for Gary?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Agenda items 11 through 13 are our reports. 11 is the March contribution-based benefit cap report. 12 is the 2025 general obligation bond resolution correction report. Lee, I don't know if you want to just briefly mention what that is.
Will not take long. So on April 10th, when you all adopted the bond resolution authorizing the issuance of our two-thirds bonds, The resolution contained a technical error where Forsyth was referred to as Fayetteville. So this is a fix for that. The LGC is aware, our bond counsel is aware. So this just reports it to you, and then we just report it back to the LGC. So it's unfortunate error, but I believe that one of your constituents found that and put that into our purview. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Lee. And agenda item number 13 is our outside county economic development fund report. And essentially, this report is the funds that are derived from the sale of water and sewer services outside Forsyth County. And that's all of the agenda items, Mr. Chair.
Gosh, it's a record. Any other questions? Good to the order. Stand adjourned. There we go.